Hello, everyone, and welcome to. I was about to say the wrong name, Zach. Hello, everyone.
You should have said it.
Welcome. Nope.
You should have
Nope.
just said
I'm not
it.
gonna say it. And let me just play it safe so the internet doesn't go down. Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Week in Geek. It's episode 18. Shout out to member of the channel, Nate Ankenbauer, who is here watching us live. Shout out to everyone on the live chat. And guys, we have a busy show today. Thor Love and Thunder has just come out. To my surprise, it has polarized a ton of people. Some of the complaints I'm seeing, I'm like, I completely disagree. We watched different movies, but sure, if that's the way you saw it, I get why you disliked it. And other people just became massive hypocrites because this is exactly the same things they enjoyed about Ragnarok.
Thank you. Thank you. Fucking preach that, man. Oh my god.
Except this is a film that gives a shit about its characters.
Yep.
Unlike Ragnarok. But anyway, you know what, guys? We have so many questions that are going to meet up with our topic of discussions. We're going to just go straight into your questions after our weekly ranking, and we'll interweave. Is that a word? I don't know. We'll weave in our discussion of Thor, Love, and Thunder. At this point, I've seen it 3 times. I'm going for a 4th time tonight. So you
really like this?
You could say that. You could say that.
All right. Multiverse or this real fast?
This.
Okay.
I really like Multiverse of Madness. I love Thor Love and Thunder.
Okay. No pun intended, though, right? And
no
I
pun
guess
intended.
Should we shout out tomorrow because we're going to be doing our trivia thing as well?
Oh yeah, you and I are going to debut as a team tomorrow in trivia. That's right.
Yep. And what's our team name? What's our team name?
Love and Thunder. I mean, You just asked me, and honestly, I was having a bad moment when your message came in, so I was like, yeah, Love and Thunder, I guess.
Yeah, that works.
But
who's Love and who's Thunder? Because they asked me, and I said that you were Thunder and I was Love.
Yes, I was going to say that you're Love because you're getting married. Congratulations, because we haven't had you on the show since then. And I'm Thunder because I don't know, because of my musical taste, I guess, because that's the heavy metal part.
And you're badass
of the combo. Well,
strong,
thank you very
powerful.
much. But without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, before we get to your questions and to our topic of discussion, let's get into our weekly rankings before getting to your weekly rankings. And I'm going to bring up Nate Ankenbauer, again, member of the channel. I'm going to leave your weekly ranking right up there. And I'm going to start with Blasted. That's my bottom. I watched it last Sunday just because this is a Norwegian Netflix original. And it has some nice ideas, but it's a pretty bad movie. I did not enjoy this very much, apart from brief flashes of fun. Over that, I'm going to have... which one of these did I like better? Because I didn't like either of these too much. So let me double check on my list, which, by the way, I have officially seen 100 films this year. 100 films from this year. Okay, yeah. So on top of Blasted, I'm going to have Netflix's as well, The Takedown. Not a lot of Netflix international films. A pretty fun buddy comedy duo from France. It has Omar Sy, who you know from Jurassic World and Jurassic World Dominion. The plot feels like it belongs more in a CSI kind of procedural, but the charm and chemistry of the leads quite works, I think. Up next, I'm going to have Rise. This is a Disney Channel original based on the real life of an NBA player, Giannis, and I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his last name. I believe I'm going to trust that Zach knows who this is.
No idea.
He's from Greece. I mean, his family is from Nigeria. They immigrated to Greece to give their sons a better life. 3 of these kids from this family are now pro NBA players and all that. It's a generic sports biopic. It works well enough, but it feels like it's an 8-episode miniseries condensed into an almost 2-hour movie. Over that, I'm going to have the final 2 episodes of Stranger Things. Last week on our episode of This Week in Geek, I had seen the 8th episode. I had not seen the finale, so now I'm ranking both in the same place. These 2 episodes are the best Stranger Things has ever been. I don't think the season as a whole is the best season of Stranger Things. I think that is still season 3, but season 4 quickly follows it, very closely follows it. And I talked about this last week. This was the first time from volume 1 to volume 2. This was the first time I was like hyped to get Stranger Things. I was like, cannot wait for that to come out because I want to see it. So that ranks quite high. I really, really liked it. Over that, maybe surprisingly for a lot of you watching, at number 2, Thor: Love and Thunder. You know I love the MCU. I'm an MCU fan. It's my favorite franchise. I don't think you've ever heard me say what I'm about to say about any MCU movie. Thor: Love and Thunder, man. What a beautiful film. What a beautiful, tender, life-affirming journey with all the wackiness and all the spectacle, but with such an emotional core foundation that drives the story. My favorite take on some of these characters, and I cannot wait to watch it again. There's a big difference that we can talk about through facts, through an objective point of view of elements in the film that make it work where Ragnarok didn't. Um, so that comes into my number 2. But my number 1, guys, if you're not watching, this is to me officially after 3 seasons the best show on TV, The Boys. If you're not watching this show, you got to get on it. The finale was spectacular. It continues to. Every change they make from the comics is like, this is better. This is better. This is better than the comics. You got to watch The Boys if you're not watching The Boys yet. It's the best show on TV. It's the best superhero show on TV. And you know, I love a lot about a ton of superhero shows on TV. And because of that, because I love Thor: Love and Thunder so much, it's only fair to bring out something that I forgot to rank. And I'm actually going to rank it below Rise, maybe not below the Takedown, but below Rise. And that is this week's Ms. Marvel. I did not enjoy this week's Ms. Marvel. I think in isolation, it's a good episode of television. It's a tender love story between this man and woman from different places. But as a part of Ms. Marvel, I quite literally I felt like this episode lost the plot. And where Ms. Marvel was not my favorite show up until now, but it was very consistent in its singular focus heading towards its finale, I feel like now it completely got off tracks. It completely went off rails. And this is the first time, like, we've been worried. The MCU shows have garnered quite a reputation for having rushed finales. I don't agree that they all have it. But right now, with the worries I have towards the finale, I would rank Ms. Marvel over Hawkeye. And that's it. The finale has to be really good for me to rank it above Falcon and Winter Soldier. And so I'm worried. I'm as worried as a lot of you have been for a ton of the other shows, which some of them I disagree, some of them I can see the points. Falcon and Winter Soldier wasn't the best show, but it had a killer finale to this day, I feel. So I'm very worried, and I'll have an article on mamasgeeky.com talking about my worries heading in towards the finale of Ms. Marvel. So that's my weekly ranking. What about you, Zach?
So down at the bottom, it is. You know, it's funny. I can't even remember what I watched because I can't put it on Letterboxd yet. I don't even remember the name. Well, there's a movie I watched that wasn't that good. So next up would be Gabby Guilford's "Won't Back Down" to new documentary. That's coming out next week. It's pretty good. I'm not a documentary fan, but a screener was sent my way and I was asked to review it. So there that is. It's about a political figure in Arizona who actually got shot in an assassination attempt and comes back, and how was her recovery there. My biggest issue is it's only an hour and 30 minutes. And this is a story that should have been like another 20 minutes for everything they're trying to do. So it kind of felt rushed at times. Leading in next, we have Ms. Marvel. I've loved the show up until this episode. And this was the first episode in the last 2 weeks that I've stayed up till midnight, watched it, and I went, cool. This is the one I stayed up for again.
Did you not like episode 4?
I loved episode 4.
Okay.
I loved episode 4.
Same here.
And I loved episode. I've like every episode, I've started to love this show more and more. This is the episode that I went, if this was a 12 episode season or like a 9 episode season, this would be a pretty
Yeah.
good episode in the middle. Like this would be like,
Good
okay, it's a
point.
little bit deterring, but I love what they set up. I love, like, honestly, I love the first half of this episode. I loved everything they were doing, but I did not look at the runtime for this episode.
Yeah.
So when it ended, I'm like, did my TV just break? Because it just ends. Like it literally feels like there should have been more. I do too.
I hate the ending.
Yep, same. I hated the ending. And
Yeah.
now knowing that next week's the finale,
Exactly.
there's a lot the finale needs to do. Unless they went back and changed things. Because let's be honest, she's going to get her new suit. That's in the fucking poster. So we know that's a thing. Probably going to connect to the Marvels. So I'm assuming we'll probably get Brie Larson next week. Or Monica Rambeau. Or someone. Fucking Nick Fury. A Skrull. There's going to be someone. It'll probably be a post-credit scene. They're probably not going to weave it into the story. Even though I kind of wish they did. Because it would have been a little bit more of a connective tissue. You got to... Who's pretty much the villain now? Like, I'm not trying to.
It's a very underwhelming villain. They've been set up as a supporting villain, and now apparently they're the main villain. So
exactly. So that's dumb, because the other villain was better, to a certain extent. It was to a certain extent. It at least was more entertaining. There's 1,000 different questions that I'll leave for your article that's coming up, but I'm not happy with that. And it just goes down to my basic thing is a lot of these shows feel rushed. I've never said that about anything else in the MCU, but when it comes down to some of their movies, when it comes down to some of their shows in this phase, a lot of them feel rushed. Like a lot of them just feel like they should be a bit longer, whether in episode length or runtime length. In fact, when we talk about Thor, while I wish Thor was like 10, 20 more minutes, just like on an opinion base of something I would have liked to see a little bit more of, I still like think it's perfect, like in length. Like I wouldn't complain too hard about that. So that's just me. I'm gonna leave it right there. Moving up next, we have Elvis. I finally got to see this last Sunday.
Nice.
And I absolutely loved Elvis. I love this to such a high standard. This is one of my favorite films of the year. And in fact, I was so obsessed with Baz Luhrmann's direction. And I've never said this about his film because I've only seen Gatsby. I really liked Gatsby, but I didn't love it. Went ahead and bought every single one of his movies on Blu-ray, and they just came in yesterday. So I'm excited to watch them.
My favorite film of his.
Which one?
Gatsby.
Is it? Okay.
I'm Gatsby,
debating on watching Moulin Rouge first, but I've heard that's like the arguably best one. So
have you ever seen Moulin Rouge?
No, I don't even know what it's about.
Get on it. Get on it. So good.
So, but yeah, I loved Elvis. It's a little too long, like that's. But then I don't even know what you would cut out because it was just that good. And Austin Butler, man, oh my fucking god, he's so good in that role. And coming in my second place, The Boys finale, really really great finale. I still don't think anything will ever beat Herogasm. That is hands down my favorite episode, specifically because of that really fight scene at the very end, like all the build up to there, and the fact. And we can talk spoilers for that episode now, right? Herogasm.
I think for Herogasm, yeah.
Okay. So the fact that Herogasm made me actually think they were going to kill Homelander in that fucking moment. That is great television because reality is they were not going to kill him. But the fact that they built it up in that fight scene and actually made me go, oh my God, they are going to kill him.
They made you question. They made you go, are they? Okay.
Yeah. Because, like, dude, that fight, and just Jensen Ackles needs to be acclaimed for his role as Soldier Boy. He is one of my favorite characters in the entire show. Just the way that he says stuff.
Don't spoil anything about the finale, but the finale made me really happy with his character.
Oh, I won't. But, like, going back to Herogasm, when he goes, buddy, you're wearing a fucking cape. And I just, like, just the way that he says that is just perfect. Like, he is such a good actor, man. I fucking love it. And I'd never really watched Supernatural, but I liked what I did watch of Supernatural, and he's great in it. So, at my number one, though, it's Thor Love and Thunder. I've seen this film twice. The more and more I think on it, the more and more I fucking love this. I literally do not care. I will defend this film till the end of the fucking earth. I'm actually, like, really, like, if you don't like this movie, that's okay. That is completely fine with me. But you cannot tell me that Thor Ragnarok doesn't do the exact same fucking thing. Like, I arguably think Ragnarok is a funnier movie because this film doesn't have as many jokes. That's the thing. Thor Ragnarok is a funnier movie to me. But Thor Love and Thunder has a cohesive story, a cohesive direction. It has heart to it. This is specifically what it has. It has heart. It knows the story it's trying to tell, and it's what Taika does best in his films. He weaves
And it
comedy
doesn't cut
and
and
drama.
doesn't undercut the story with
It
jokes.
doesn't. And that's what I love, because every serious moment that needs a moment, and we're going to talk about this, needs that moment to breathe and give. Specifically, there's two moments between Thor and Mighty Thor, one towards the ending, one on a boat.
Yeah.
Those two moments are never, it's incredible. It is never undercutted by humor popping in randomly. And if it is actually a real life humor to it, because that's how real life discussion would go. And that's what I love about it, because there's a point, if something that Thor says on that boat, that I'm like, that's how I feel. That's exactly how I fucking feel.
It's
that's
character-centric humor, where in Ragnarok, the characters became a vehicle for the joke. And I'll talk more specifics about that when we get to the questions. Was that your number one?
My number one, man.
Okay, yeah. All right. With that said, let's
also
get to
breaking news: the cinema score came out for Thor Love and Thunder.
Oh, here we go. B plus.
Yep, B plus. Dark World is higher. Dark World is higher.
Wow. People are on drugs, man. Channel member Nate Ankenbauer, thank you so much for supporting the channel, Nate. Weekly ranking: number 1, Inception; number 2, The Boys, episode 8; number 3, The World's End; number 4, Last Night in Soho; number 5, Semi-Pro; and number 6, Boy. I would definitely have Last Night in Soho over World's End, and I've never seen Semi-Pro or Boy. I'm not sure what Boy is.
I know that horror film, that shitty one with the
okay, because that one is The Boy, so I'm not sure if that's the one Nate is mentioning. But yeah, it's. I mean, I actually don't mind the first one. The second one is awful though. But thank you for sharing your ranking, Nate. Eric Thorpe reviews weekly ranking: number 1, Westworld season 4, episode 2. Number 2, me too. Number 2, Stranger Things. 4, episode 9. Number 3, Thor Love and Thunder. Number 4, Lightyear. Number 5, Ms. Marvel, episode 5. I would move this weekly ranking a lot. My number 1 would be Thor Love and Thunder. Next, it would be Lightyear. Next, it would be Stranger Things. Next, it would be Westworld. And dead last, unfortunately, Ms. Marvel. Would have been a very different ranking last week. Up next, Joe Fletcher, good friend of the channel, weekly ranking: number 6, Thor 2, 5 out of 10. Number 5, Thor. Number 4, Thor 4. Number 3, Ready Player One. Number 2, Thor Ragnarok. And number 1, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Again, I would change this a little bit. I would have Thor Love and Thunder at number 1. I would have Thor at number 2. Then Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Then Ready Player One, then Thor Ragnarok, and then Thor Love. No, not Thor Love and Thunder. Jesus, Thor: The Dark World, which is a movie I enjoy. Lady Aaron, for my weekly ranking, I only watched one thing this week, so it's number 1 and number 100. It's first and last, and that is Top Gun: Maverick, aka the best movie of 2022. I went in with such high expectations, and all of them were met. Thank you so much for sharing, Aaron. Luis Feliciano, weekly ranking: number 3, Ms. Marvel episode 5; number 2, The Sopranos; number 1, The Godfather parts 1 and 2. I actually rewatched these as well a few weeks ago. R.I.P. James Caan and Tony Sirico. I hope that's how we pronounce it. Still need to watch the third one for the first time. Geek OEP, hang on, Dominican Scott's. Dominican Scott, my weekly ranking: just binge all seasons of Stranger Things, season 3, season 2, season 4, and season 1. So very different rankings. My favorite season is your last. That's more than fair. Geek OEP, my weekly ranking: number 13, Thor: The Dark World; number 12, Thor; number 11, Thor Love and Thunder; number 9, Ms. Marvel episode 5; number 8, Thor Ragnarok; number 7, The Orville: New Horizon. I've also been watching The Orville.
Can I ask you something with that real fast?
Yeah.
Do I need to watch the last 2 seasons? I want
In
to
the,
watch the show, but I do not care to watch the last two
there are
seasons.
there are episodes where they will reference previous episodes,
Okay.
but for the most part, I think it'd be good. To be
Okay.
honest, I think it'd
Okay.
be good.
Because it's like vastly different now, isn't it?
Yes and no. Like the first episode of season 3, like it starts and it's a fucking episode about suicide.
Oh.
You know, but then it goes back a little. It's always a show that it has comedy to it, but then there are episodes that they are heavy, and then there are episodes that, oh, this is just a ripoff of Star Trek. So while at first, like that first episode of season 3 of New Horizons is by far the heaviest episodes they have, because the entire and all of the episodes in this season right now are 1 hour or longer.
Okay.
And that first episode is like 1 hour 20 minutes, and it's about suicide.
That's
It's about
crazy.
one of the members of the crew who is hated by so many people because of previous events that I don't want to spoil, and he decides to kill himself.
Nice.
And then the bulk of the episode is the rest of the crew, his friends, and all that, dealing with that and with the abuse that he was dealt that led him to that decision. But then there are other episodes where, okay, this is more along the lines of what was there already. So yeah, number 6, Boy. So Nate mentioned Boy as one of Taika's early movies, and that this is probably what he also meant, not The Boy. So good shout, Chico EP. One of Taika's early movies. I haven't seen this one because I can't find it anywhere. Number 5, Hunt for the Wilder People. This is Taika Waititi's weakest movie for me. I'm just very indifferent to it.
I've still never seen that. I've still never seen it. I own it
It's
too.
with Sam Neill and the kid from Deadpool 2.
I've heard he's really good in that. That's what got him the
They're
role.
really good. I just didn't care too much for the whole thing. Gico EP, number 4, Everybody Hates Chris season 1. I was gonna make a Will Smith joke, but too soon. Number 3, What We Do in the Shadows. Number 2, Jojo Rabbit, and number 1, The Boys season finale. The Boys season finale was so fucking good. Let's see if anyone else has weekly ranking. Oh, Gico EP typed it in again and again. Let me see. Nope. That is it for weekly rankings. All right, everyone. Let's go into your live question, not live questions, the questions that you put in on the community tab. And we are going to intertwine the discussion of Thor Love and Thunder. Is it the best Phase 4 movie? Why is it so good? All those good things. First question comes to us from good friend of the channel, Gico EP. Do you guys think talking about movies, talking about films nowadays, especially on social media, has just been hasn't been as fun, or it's been more cynical? Not saying talking about films with you guys and the chat isn't great, but with Star Wars, Marvel, DC, when we get into a respectful debate, it starts to get heated, and people using other movies to bash another film gets exhausting to me. It gets exhausting to me as well. Gico EP, like, you don't see me interacting a lot on Twitter. That's why I like doing this show. That's why I like putting reviews out there. That when you start watching a review, I always say I need you to start the conversation, because I feel like I've created a safe space for us to have conversations. So even though the video reviews are not live, I always encourage you guys to participate, because after I do a video, I want to talk to people. I just don't feel like Twitter is a good place for that, because there are much more disrespectful people who already have their mind set on their opinions and are not interested in a discussion or in a conversation. And you guys are. So again, when I start the video reviews and say I want you to start the conversation, that's because I want you guys to start the conversation. Let me know your thoughts. Let's discuss with one another. As best I can, I always respond to it. So yeah, it's not as fun, not online. I have a ton of fun with Zach and with other friends on a private chat on Twitter. But as far as Twitter itself, as far as the timeline itself, I'll share my reviews with the link, so hopefully people will click on it, and I'll retweet something with a sarcastic comment and for meme purposes. But other than that, I'm not interested in having constructive criticism on Twitter, on social media in general. Zach, what about you?
Okay, so I just hate like the entire thing. It seems like every time a movie comes out now, there's some controversy or there's some like toxic fandom that has to come out of it. Honestly, like the latest movie that did not have this is Top Gun. I really think that was like the only universally loved film. Lightyear had it. Minions has it. Fucking Thor has it. And it's kind of annoying because like it's like people can't just respect other people's opinions. Like I've said, like if you don't like a movie, that's totally fine. I might think you're
Yeah.
crazy, but I might, like with Thor Love and Thunder, I do not get how people like Ragnarok, but do not like Love and Thunder to even extent if you still like Ragnarok more. I just don't get it. But like I've been getting attacked for liking Love and Thunder more than Multiverse of Madness. I've said it, Multiverse of Madness has a very messy fucking script. Like a very messy script. And if it was not for Sam Raimi, I do not think that film would have been good. I think that probably would have been the weakest Marvel film. Because of Sam Raimi, his direction really pushed that film forward into a new light. And I think there's just stuff from the pandemic that's been handling, and I think people don't take that into consideration. Like it's not just Marvel having this issues, but seriously enough, like there's always going to be some controversial piece on every freaking movie that comes out. Elvis had it too, which is dumb because like people were complaining about certain things in the Elvis movie that turned out to be like things that actually happen in real life. So
Yeah.
I don't know, like it's always, and it's that, you know what's been bothering me a lot, Ren, is when people screenshot images from a trailer and they're like
Oh,
$185 million movie compared to
yeah.
this one hundred and eighty
Are,
five
are you kidding me?
million
That
dollar.
that shot that people shared with Love and Thunder, where he's like,
Yeah,
I don't want
how
to give too
quick it
much
is.
away.
How
Where
quick it
he's
is.
where he's in a garden. Let's say that it's not really a garden once you see the film, but let's not spoil Thor: Love and Thunder already. And he summons the lightning. That shot looks great in the movie, and I never thought it looked bad in the trailer. Like I was like, okay, well, what are people talking about? Do you have a real life reference of you standing in a green scenario and you summon lightning to transport you to the center of the universe? That's as ambiguous as I can make it to not spoil anything. Like it looks great. I don't know what people are talking about. All
Yeah.
right, Gigo EP. This is a long one. This is the one that is going to take us into the discussion, um, um, into the discussion of Thor, Love and Thunder, etc. Gigo EP. I thought this would be an interesting topic after Multiverse of Madness and especially Love and Thunder. Can we talk about Phase 4 and the state of the MCU right now? Yes, we can. So far, Phase 4 has been the most divisive phase, and it is causing massive debates with some defenders like Real Rejects, Austin Burke, Cosmic Wonder, you guys, etc. But it has skeptics like Christian Arloff. I didn't even know Christian Arloff was doing reviews yet, still.
Yep, they are
Uh,
again. Well, at
okay.
least he is.
I mean,
Yeah.
the Schmodown is ending for some reason. That's another topic entirely, but I really didn't like how they announced the Schmodown is ending and don't say why. I mean, we can guess why, obviously, but it's a little bit trashy how they don't mention it. John Campia, I don't think Campia is a skeptic. I think he sees issues with it, but I'd still say that he's like a defender per se. Double toast to Dan Merle and your buddy Sean Chandler, growing concern and even frustrated on where this future is heading. Here's some complaints I've observed. Oversaturation. Now with Disney Plus adding shows into the universe and having them connect, to the movies, making it seem like there's too much to keep up with and starts to feel like homework. And with every new content coming out 1 or 2 months from each other, doesn't give us time to soak it in. To be fair though, the pandemic didn't help with some projects being pushed back. This one I can sort of get. But I also can sort of get if you're a casual fan. If you're not into the connective universe, if you're not a big fan of the MCU, I can get it. I understand how too much content at the same time can feel like too much because of the connective tissue between them. But at the same time, it's very important that you acknowledge that the pandemic didn't help. So now we're still in that chunk of time where a few of these projects got switched around in terms of order. So we're going to let them breathe quite a lot starting next year. I think at this point, unless I'm forgetting something, like She-Hulk is the last one that was like switched around. Am I correct?
I think you are correct because I think Moon Knight was honestly supposed to be last. From my understanding, when
Yeah,
they
I
announced,
think
it
so
seemed like
too.
Moon Knight was
Yeah,
last. So I was very surprised when that actually came out.
and
Um,
and and I didn't feel too much with Thor: Love and Thunder because
mhm,
it's so onto itself, and I
yeah,
don't think we feel it as much with Guardians 3 either because that
that's
was
gonna
delayed
be.
because of other things and all that. But it's also going to be its own thing. It's going to
Can
be
I say
apart from
something?
everything else. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This whole pandemic issue, like with visual effects and just rushed and things, I think next year we won't see it as bad, at least with the movies per
Yeah.
se, such as Ant-Man, Captain Marvel, and what was the other one? Captain Marvel,
Ant-Man,
Ant-Man,
Captain
and
Marvel.
Guardians.
Well,
Guardians.
yeah, Guardian and Black Panther supposedly it's coming next year. I mean, I still don't believe it's coming this year.
That's where I
Um,
was gonna say, if Black Panther actually comes out this year, that film will be rushed. That
oh,
film will
oh yes, it will.
indefinitely, absolutely be rushed.
Will
They
that
need to,
film beat Iron Man 2 as the worst MCU movie? This is the point we've come to. This is the point we've come to where we're
for
pondering.
for me. I will at Comic-Con apparently that is their big thing they're going to be doing is talking about Black Panther. But I'm just like
Let's hope.
why not move Ant-Man there or just move anything out? Ant-Man is in February. Black Panther
You know what? I say don't move anything there. Just move Black Panther back and give it time to breathe. Like it's okay. We're going to have She-Hulk. We're going to end this year with having gotten two at least really good Marvel movies, and three. Well, the verdict is out on Miss Marvel and She-Hulk, but one fantastic MCU show and at least one good one.
Yeah, I hope
We'll be
Wakanda
okay.
Forever is the biggest surprise.
We'll be
But
okay.
I will say
And
next
and
year,
and if they delay Black Panther 2 and don't put anything there, it'll actually go to GKOP's point where there will be this time to breathe between shows and movies until the
yep,
Marvels. Like
yep,
people
because
won't forget Feige. Don't I mean it's not
they
Kevin
won't.
Feige's fault, but
No, but I really do think that when we look at the entire thing, there is a lot of that. I don't think it's saturation either because people can choose what they want to see. I would say right now you do not have to view everything to understand.
no.
Like I remember before Multiverse of Madness, everyone's like, "Oh my god, you're gonna have to see Spider-Man, you're gonna have to see Loki, you're gonna have to see WandaVision." Honestly, the only thing you should have really seen was WandaVision. That's it. Like in WandaVision, I only say you should see it just so you understand what she went through. Like,
Yeah.
I have one friend who did not see WandaVision and one friend who did. The one who did liked it a lot more. The one who
Okay.
didn't thought Wanda's shift was very weird to him. And he never saw WandaVision. He never watched a single episode. So I do think that certain things, and I don't mind when they do. I think it's cool if they connect it a little bit
I
harder,
mean
but
it's part of being a cinematic universe.
it is.
But
It
you don't
is.
have
You don't. So that's where I go to say that I just think I really like that Thor was very by itself in its own
to.
world, setting up just more Thor. I think that's really it.
Apart from the mid-credit scene. Mid-credit
Yep.
scene I think leads us it could very well be just leading to Thor 5.
That's what I
But it
thought
could
it
also be
was.
the
But it
next
could,
crossover.
but
It
you
could be
are
one
right
or
on
the other.
that.
I kind of like that it is, oh, is this going this way or that way? And I don't know.
Yeah.
And I love it. All right, point number 2 from GKOP. Some say in this phase is directionless. That's just wrong. Lacking in the interconnectivity of phase 1 through 3, not showing a clear path on where it's going by introducing new ideas and characters, making things feel more convoluted, leading to some feeling impatient. That's the key word, though. That's on the audiences. That impatient. And I have seen a ton of intelligent people that I love having discussions with where, phase 4 just started last year. It's a little over a year. Well, at this point, let's be fair, it's a year and a half old.
Yeah.
And a ton of people say, oh, yes, it's only a year and a half old, but it's got like 5 movies and 7 TV shows and blah, blah. Doesn't matter. As you're expanding, you're going to need more pieces for a bigger puzzle. So it doesn't matter that it has more projects. It matters the length of time. If you're expanding, you're not going to complete a puzzle with the same amount of pieces that you completed a smaller puzzle. If you have a bigger puzzle, you'll need more pieces. So I think it's as simple as that. Regarding it being directionless, regarding the lack of connectivity, I have seen so many complaints that all these Marvel movies are filled with Easter eggs. That's the interconnectivity. That's what we need. And then another half of people is like, oh, it has all these Easter eggs for fan service. And there's the interconnectivity you wanted. Where's the balance here? Like, what do you really want, people? Not saying for GQAP. I'm talking about the masses, the brainless masses of Twitter, not any of you guys. And in regards to it feeling directionless, I think it's just not wanting to see what's already there. So many of these movies already have thematic similarities where they're discussing man's relationship to God. Thor Love and Thunder is all about humanity versus godhood. Moon Knight is all about our relationship to our gods. It shows us a little bit of the afterlife, which we've seen a glimpse of in Black Panther. And Moon Knight goes a little bit more into that. So there are all of these ideas that correlate all these different projects. They don't directly connect, but the thematic similarities are already there. They're already tackling these different realms of reality that are interesting. Zach, anything to
add? I'm tired of the directionalist thing because, again, I mean, I understand why, because it does feel like we've been in this phase forever, but reality is we've been in it for a year. A fucking year. You know what I mean? Like, and for me, it's like comic. I get it's not like everyone, but obviously I've been getting more into comics and reading comics, man. Like, you'll read like all these spans and you read these spans and nothing really connects. And then like fucking 50 issues later, it finally all connects. You know what I mean? Like, I like that overall everything has kind of been on its own. You know, like it's setting up. I like that stuff a little bit more. I don't really care when it's interconnection. I don't know. I really like Phase 4. I think Phase 4 is the second best phase, honestly, out of all the phases.
I'm not ready to call it either way because it's not over. But I mean, can't we just enjoy it as movies? Like, I get it that...
You know what I put it as this phase? This is the epilogue to Endgame. This is an epilogue as well as a prologue to the next phase or whatever the next
I
big
would say
thing
it's
is.
more as a prologue because I think Far
Even
From
with
Home
like
dealt with a epilogue.
See, but I think like Thor: Love and Thunder felt like an epilogue to Endgame in some way,
You
shape,
think
and
so?
form. As well setting up, yeah, because it's Thor's next. Like, what happens to him after Endgame? Loki, in a way, is kind of like.
But it sent him off into this
Yeah,
new.
I don't know. That's why I view it as
trajectory.
both ways. Because Phase 4 has been
I
a
get
lot
it.
of how do we deal with Endgame? How do we deal with the result?
Well,
Eternals.
that
lot
is
of
when it comes
Eternals.
to heroes we knew, because now the new heroes, they're like they'll mention the reality that they live in regards.
Yeah.
Oh, Endgame happened, but they're doing their own thing. They're moving forward. They're expanding the universe.
So.
Point number 3.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Some thinking the formula is starting to wear thin. This is definitely showing with the reactions to Love and Thunder, kind of being the breaking point for some with complaints about the overuse of humor and CGI-heavy third act. I hate the CGI-heavy third act complaint. That even when they try to experiment, and they try, like, I love Spider-Man No Way Home. It has an awesome fight sequence in terms of the characters that are there, in terms of the story, in terms of the emotion. The location is ugly as shit. It's one of the most uninteresting locations they've had in their third acts. Thor Love and Thunder has one of the most exciting environments we've seen in any MCU movie. On top of having all the story, all the emotion, all that. Even when they try to experiment, they do fall back in the MCU isms and got some feeling there's not that much variety to them, leading to some not feeling as excited for upcoming projects as they want to be. Some even saying they've been more interested in what DC is doing now, thanks to stuff like the Suicide Squad, the Peacemaker, the Batman. Now they have caught up. Oh, how the tables have turned. I've not seen actually people be more excited.
I want to start with this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, going to the DC comic, I actually have seen people say they caught up, but they haven't. The reality is they haven't, because they still want to build a cinematic universe. What they have caught up, not even caught up on, what they have been doing is just sticking to their own, making good stuff. Peacemaker was a big surprise. Suicide Squad is like one of my favorite things that has ever come out. I fucking love that movie. And The Batman is my favorite film of this year so far. But The Batman is way different than anything that has come out. Like, that the Batman is an actual movie. The Batman is not just a fucking blockbuster. That is pure and pure out a very different type of movie compared to anything else in the comic book sphere. But the thing I do want to look at is when you look at everything going on in the MCU, I hate the over CGI or the CGI heavy action. What do you expect? Every action scene in MCU films. But this entire phase is very different. This entire phase is very different. Look at Eternal, and that's my thing. A lot of people were like, "We want you to break the mold, go different, do something different." What have they been doing? They do something different. People are up in arms about it. People say it's not as great. But when they rely back on it, now they're like, "Well, what's?" For me, there's no balance to this, and it kind of goes like Thor Ragnarok. Some people call that like a fresh, like what's the word? Like that was super fresh and different. It wasn't though. It was colorful and weird and wacky because
visually in terms of cosmetics, that's how I like to put it. The cosmetics were different than the previous Thor movie.
They brought Taika Waititi in late at the last second to direct a film and gave him $200 million. No, he did not write that one. Gave him $200 million to go fucking do whatever he wanted. And I think people enjoy it because of the improv and because of that. But when Taika actually gets to write a script where he can show comedy and drama, people don't like that. But that's his style. I mean, look at Jojo Rabbit. Jojo Rabbit has you busting out laughing at one point, and then the next moment, the shoe scene, you are absolutely in utter shock, in tears,
which,
and
by the
your
way,
heart
still
just
his
feels
best
ripped
movie.
out. Oh, flat out, Jojo Rabbit's his best film. And then I would probably say What We Do in the Shadows is next. But this is very close.
I would actually say Thor Love and Thunder in second place. Yeah.
Fair enough, enough.
I've come to like What We Do in the Shadows, but I don't love it. I love the show.
Still haven't seen the show. I still have not watched the show. I still have not watched the show. I need to.
It's probably on Disney Plus or Hulu there.
It's on Hulu. It's on Hulu. I'm trying to do better with watching TV, just so everyone knows. But I got into New Girl. I don't know if you've ever watched New Girl. It's kind of like my thing. I put on.
I know what it is.
It's actually. I put it on just like one night going to bed because everyone else in my family watches. I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty good. So, but going back to the actual discussion, a lot of people have kind of shit on this phase, but for me, it is a very different phase, man. Like for me, Eternals. I love Eternals, even with its faults. But there's something about that film that is very strong. Shang-Chi is, in a sense, a father-son story. That is very, 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 very awesome. And the third act, while overly CGI, is fucking awesome. It's fucking great. Spider-Man No Way Home, I do agree with you. As much as I love that film, it is my favorite MCU film. The third act could have been in a better spot.
And let me say about Shang-Chi as well, to your point, I think it has great CGI. I think it keeps on focus the emotionality of it all. I think it has a great location, but for some reason, they obscure it with dark clouds, and you cannot see the splendor of that location. So it's very nitpicky. It's a very minute detail in a thing that overall really works. But for Shang-Chi, that's my complaint about the third act.
Yeah, but you look at everything else. I just think that's the thing, is that people really are bogged down on certain things. But it's like, I understand if you don't like what they do, maybe you want them to go back or stuff like this. But I don't know. Deep down, I feel like in the end of the day, we're going to see what they were trying to do. And people are going to be like, you know what? Eternals wasn't too bad. You know what? Love and Thunder was pretty damn good. I feel like that's what's going to end up happening. Because I want to talk Phase 1. I don't remember the praise being that big for films. I remember Iron Man's praise, and I remember the first Avengers praise. Every other film in there, I remember a lot of people were just enjoying them. I do not remember people universally flipping out until, honestly, Winter Soldier. I feel like Winter Soldier was the first film that really started getting that universal praise. Then Guardians. Then it kind of went back down a bit. And then Phase 3 kicks in, and then it becomes this overall big thing where I feel like every film in Phase 3 was like spread. But you know what? Iron Man 3 is another film that they kind of started. They let Shane Black go and do something different. Some people love it, some people don't, and a lot of people didn't like that. So,
but I wouldn't even say Shane Black's different is in his direction. It was more so in his writing.
Okay, I could see that.
Whereas Taika Waititi, yes, it's the writing, but it's also the visuals. It's also the cosmetics, and Sam Raimi as well. Like Love and Thunder, Multiverse of Madness. Distinctly a Taika Waititi and a Sam Raimi movie. So I have nothing to add because I pretty much agree with you. All right, number 4, relying too much on fan service or fan expectations. I'm going to chalk this one as fan service because fan expectations, that's the fans' fault. Um, that a movie, a studio, I don't care if we're talking about MCU, Star Wars, DCU, um, the Jurassic franchise, the Fast franchise, expectations are the people's faults, not the studios
Yep,
or the movies.
100% agree. Yep.
Okay, so relying too much on fan service.
Unless they market something that is something else. That's the only time I'll understand that.
Relying too much on fan service. Now, this can be applied both as an audience problem or a Marvel problem based on what they set up in previous phases and in the marketing for the films. No Way Home worked. It was always in service of the story. You're very right. But Multiverse of Madness, well, look how that went. I still think it was in service of the story. Like, they were there to serve their purpose, to understand their power level, and then look at what the villain of the film did to them. The only thing I can kind of get with Multiverse of Madness is that it's called Multiverse of Madness, and that sent expectations way too high. I can kind of see the point on there. However, I've always said this: a title is just a title. It doesn't really matter. A title is a marketing tool, and like any other marketing tool, watch it, get excited, leave your expectations at the door. So I still think it was always in service of the story and of the characters. Doctor Strange needed to know that no matter how good he means with what he does and says in every universe, turns out he goes down the dark path. So I really enjoyed the use of the Illuminati and how they didn't overstay their welcome, how they weren't there to take hold of the story and be a part of it for the second half of the film. Zach, what do you think?
I agree with you. Even though I did want my biggest criticism of Multiverse of Madness is it does feel like it needed 20 to 30 minutes more just to let the film breathe. Because my biggest issue was there was not more tender, slower moments. Like I would have loved another moment between him and Rachel McAdams in the film, and that's personally what I wanted. But I do think that a lot of it is fan expectations and people expecting something and not getting it. Because Eternals, a lot of it was, oh my god, this is going to be the film that wins Best Picture, which, you know, you and me were maybe theorizing that a bit. It's Chloe Zhao, but it wasn't. And it was something vastly different. Shang-Chi, I think kind of just came out of nowhere. No one really had expectations for that. But when it comes down to films like this, I think, or just in general, the Marvel Universe, honestly, and I take a lot of this, and this is what I like about working a normal job, is because I get to talk to people who are not in this sphere and hear their point of view. And every person in my office, this is their one thing after watching an MCU film. Well, how's it going to connect, though? Like, how does this connect to that? Yeah. How does this connect to that? That is always their question. Eternals, same thing. How does this connect to that? There's Celestial. There's a giant Celestial hand. Why haven't they talked about that yet? Oh, Loki did this. Why haven't they every discussion, it's always this. And I love them for it, man. I understand, like, you guys want, but, like, again, if you go,
you know
back
what
to
I'm realizing?
one,
you know what I'm realizing, Zach? Those people that ask those questions, like, you've never read a comic book in your life, have you? Because comic books come out monthly, and if you read an Avengers run that is building to a crossover, you know how long you'd have to wait for one of those crossovers? You'd have to wait 2 years minimum. Get on Jonathan Hickman's Avengers run from 2015, the one that built up to Secret Wars, which is fantastic in itself, and try to read it as if you're reading the single issues.
When so you buy the volume, buy it 1 month at a time. Should I do that?
Yeah. I mean, because now the issues aren't available, so you'd have to buy the volumes. But when you read the volumes, like they tell you, like, when an issue is over and another one starts, read it month to month as if you're reading the single issues. You'll see how long you have to wait for the crossovers, or even to realize where it is all going, because they don't announce it.
But that's also the thing, like think about it. Like, in the first phase, Nick Fury comes out in that first film. I'm building a team called the Avengers, yada, yada, yada. Then we get boom, 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 boom.
But you know why? You know why Nick Fury was already there from the beginning? Because there were only 4 more movies to build exactly. Crossover. Well,
so...
yeah, 4 more movies.
I believe Kevin... Here's the thing. I think Kevin Feige knows where he is going. You have to... Like, I think he knows where he's going. And obviously, a lot of the stuff that's, like, just rumored, it's not official. Comic-Con and D23, he'll probably be like, this is what we're doing. This is our plan. I think he's seen this thing. I think he's gonna let it out. I think he goes, we're getting a Nova movie. We're
Comic-Con.
getting
Maybe that's
Blade.
why he's going to Comic-Con. He's like,
Yeah.
do you see this? Do you see this from Love and Thunder? This from Multiverse of Madness? This from Moon Knight? And this from Ms. Marvel? Well, it's all leading to this. And I don't know, Secret Wars.
And I'll tell you this. I think since D23 is like a month later, I think this is how it's going to go. Comic-Con will be movie focused. They probably won't announce any shows. They'll probably talk about like Secret Invasion since that's already announced and everything, but they will not announce. They will announce movies there, pure out movies, and I will not be shocked if that's for Fantastic Four. That they're gonna give it a release date, a director, and I think they're gonna have the cast walk out. Then at D23, just as they did in 2019, they announced all the shows: Moon Knight, Secret Invasion, Miss Marvel, Agnes, fucking everything. They announced all the shows there. And Echo. So I think that's what, and they'll probably announce Daredevil there this year. They'll probably announce whatever they're doing there. They'll probably announce, this, that. That's where I think they're going to do. They're going to focus on what's coming out, as well as, here are the movies that are coming out. Blade, Deadpool 3, which, dude, if fucking Ryan Reynolds shows up, I will fucking cry. If I get into Hall H and he shows up, I'll fucking cry. But yeah, no, seriously, like, that is something that we need to just, as fans, understand. Give them time. Like, patience. I don't care.
Patience, like, young Skywalker.
Exactly. Like, because I'm Ren. I don't even want to bet it with you because I think you're gonna be on the same side as me. In how long you think this entire, like, whatever they're doing, like their next end game? What? How many years?
2025. Honestly, 2025, maybe 2026.
Okay, so in 2025 or 2026, do you think, looking back, people will be like, I like Eternals more, or I like Thor
because people are stubborn, and I don't trust people to see the lights. I just don't trust people. Yeah,
I think people will.
I mean, no. I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm saying because they don't like Eternals now, even if it justifies that change, they will be like, no, Eternals still sucks. I don't care about it. MCU is gone. MCU is gone to shit. Blah blah.
Okay, maybe.
I just don't trust people anymore.
Yeah. I get that.
All right, and last point before we move on to all the other questions from Gico EP. Number 5, thinking the quality is dropping. With a few expectations, of course: WandaVision, Loki, Shang-Chi, No Way Home, so far with Ms. Marvel until this week. Some think of a lot of entries in Phase 4 have not lived up to their potential. Not living up to their potential is fair. I think it's fair. With reactions ranging from good movies / shows with great elements, but some things hold them back from reaching greatness, so it's fine. It's okay. Hell, some would say the entries have been bad. I entirely disagree with you. In fact, Phase 4, for the most part, I think has offered more great stuff than most other phases in the MCU, perhaps because it has more projects, sure, but it has also, let's be fair, while a lot of them are like, this is great, this is top tier MCU, I've also seen a ton of stuff that is bottom tier MCU. And let's remember, bottom tier MCU is still good, still solid. We just haven't had anything like in that middle. Like, this is really good, not top tier, just slightly below top tier. I mean, I would position Multiverse of Madness in the mid tier of MCU, not bottom, not top, but mid tier. But most things have been either bottom or top. So I kind of understand that. It's just this wide disarray of quality. Like last year, we got Black Widow. Black Widow was solid. I like it more than most people. Most people didn't like it too much, though. But then you have Loki, which is one of the best things the MCU has ever had to offer. Still the best finale of any of the MCU shows, if you ask me.
That's the best paced show. That is the best paced show.
So there's a disarray, there's a disparity, but at the same time, because you're having so many things, because you're shooting in all these directions, more risk will maybe reap more reward, but it will also increase the chances of failure. And I don't think any of the things we got are outright failures, but there are bigger chances for that. There are bigger chances for you're not going to enjoy everything. But I think the problem is people are not all right with not enjoying and everything. It's not just that people don't enjoy the MCU; it's falling down on the MCU or whatever because they're not enjoying. Like, it's okay. We can enjoy them as being movies, and put the connectivity and this shared cinematic universe stuff second, like we did in Phase One, in Phase Two. We've built to this crescendo that I think has spoiled a lot of people. Now they
Yeah.
want everything on that high level. Give it time. Let's go back
Exactly.
to simpler times. And speaking of simpler times, that's why I love Thor Love and Thunder. Look at the superhero origin stories in Phase One, how simpler and trimmed down they were. Obviously, Thor Love and Thunder has come out in a time where the audience has gotten more accustomed to see more wacky, fantastical things, and you have those elements. But in terms of the through line of the story that is following, how the story is being told, it's much more similar to the stories in Phase One, I feel. Maybe even Phase Two, but I feel it's so similar in a lot of ways to the way the origin story of Thor was told, to the first Avenger, to the first Iron Man. And so it maybe created some whiplash, but I think Thor Love and Thunder, in fact, creates a sense of going back to basics in a lot of ways.
Exactly. And I agree. I so like I told you, like Spider-Man No Way Home is my favorite MCU film now. It's just a giant Spider-Man fan, that's it. But the whole discussion of our podcast is this time is Thor Love and Thunder the best Phase 4 Marvel film? On a technical and direction and writing level, yes. Hands down, it is the best made film in Phase 4. I think Taika Waititi absolutely killed it. And with everything you just mentioned, I love how simple it was. I love that it didn't really tie into
Yeah,
anything. I love that it just focused on Thor and his ex-girlfriend and Valkyrie and Korg, and I you liked Korg in this one,
I liked
right?
Korg. I
Yeah.
liked Korg, yeah, because now he had a in this film he has a reason to be part of the story.
And
You
I
know,
love
yeah,
the how he tells the story, how he is
yeah.
the narrator in a sense.
He's like the emissary for Thor, and then like he's catching up on all his old life that he never knew. He's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that's your ex-girlfriend. Oh, that's your hammer. He never seen Mjolnir." Like he
Yeah.
wasn't like I'm sure in Endgame he didn't stop in the middle of battle. Hey, cool. Hey, Thor, that's your hammer. You got it back, mate.
Yeah. Exactly. So, and then Gore. And you know what I love is how Taika weaved parallels between all three of our main characters, Mighty
Yeah,
Thor, Thor, and Gore. They are all dealing, in a sense, the same fucking thing, just in a different way. What is killing them? The sword is killing Gore. The hammer, we're talking spoilers, right?
No, but the hammer killing Jane Foster is in the comics and it was a part of the premise. Like every time
Okay.
she powers up into Mighty Thor, the cancer
Yeah.
spreads more and
And then
faster.
I would say kind of Thor's depression was killing him in Endgame,
Yeah,
and kind of still leads even into this that he doesn't know who
because
he
because
is.
Thor because Thor has lost everything. From
Everything.
all the things we knew of Thor, like since the last time we saw Thor, he's lost everything we knew him to be and to have. His mother, his father, his brother, his home, his
His
hammer,
friends.
and now the ex-girlfriend that he thought he lost, and his friends with Tony and Cap, and now his ex-girlfriend that left him. Let's not get into specifics, but that left him now wields the hammer he thought he lost at the hands of his sister that took his home away from him.
Yeah.
He's in this journey of self-discovery, and he's like, "Oh, okay, maybe this one part of my old life, maybe I can get it back." He wants to stay in this comfort zone. He wants to grab on this safety net,
Yeah.
and that's what's so beautiful in
And
the in
my
the
favorite
story
line
of
he
the
says,
film.
and this is out of context, so you wouldn't know. I want to feel shitty about something.
Yes.
I love that. And I love where it came from. Because
Yeah.
that, like, as much as that wasn't in it as much, I really like how, again, Taika used that. And I just love this movie, man. Like, I love how much
It's a
heart
beautiful
this
movie.
film has. And I don't know about, dude, the ending for the story was fucking perfect. I love
Oh,
where it ends. And just as how I was so excited when No Way Home ended, that I'm so excited to see what they do next with Spider-Man with everything that had now come to surface. I am so excited to see what they do with the next Thor film,
Yeah.
or whatever they
And
do
the
next with
actor,
that
the
character.
real life connection with the
Yes.
actress, it's
Yes.
beautiful.
And I didn't know that till literally yesterday.
I saw it in the credits. I was like, nice.
Oh, see,
You know?
I didn't see that. But I do love that. Now, I do want to ask you something. So now it's come out that Lena Headey was supposed to be in it.
Yeah.
Was she playing
Headey.
Gorr's wife? You think Gorr's
I
wife?
think she was either playing Gorr's wife or Hera in
That's what I thought too.
Infinity City or Olympus. I still call it Olympus.
Now,
because
I
think
also
the
want to
name of
ask
it
you
is-
because Christian Bale said that he did a scene with Ian Malcolm, of course, Jeff Goldblum,
Jeff
and
Goldblum.
do you, and Peter Dinklage. Do you think he killed him,
Peter
or like?
I think he kills Peter Dinklage, Eitri. I don't know if he kills Grandmaster because I don't think Grandmaster is a god.
Okay.
I think certain things you learn about the movie, it makes sense why he would go to Eitri and eventually kill him.
Mhm.
But I don't know that the Grandmaster is a god.
Okay.
So
that makes sense. But
so I don't know if that.
And we didn't talk enough about this, but Christian Bale is absolutely phenomenal in this film. Gorr's one of my favorite villains.
I love how visually they placed shadows in
Yep.
front of him, and you can see quick glimpses of Gorr from the comics.
Yep, and I also love that it was very Pennywise-esque. Like, there's a scene where he just pops up in the shadows, and the way that he's just like his mannerisms were perfect.
Yeah, I agree. All right, that is it for the discussion there. Really good points raised, GeekOEP. As you can see, it led us to the 1 hour mark. So let's trudge on through these questions so we can get to all of them. Continuing with GeekOEP. Do you guys hate it when people just hate on a movie before seeing it? Absolutely. For example, I won't say who, but I know someone on Twitter who I think we all follow, who's one of the known haters of Taika's take with the Thor character. I was for quite a while. Been bashing Thor Love and Thunder before it even came out, complaining about Gorr's look and the VFX, which look great. Then he saw the movie and hated it. I saw the tweet and I was, you've been bitching about this movie before it came out, dude. I don't know who you're talking about, so if you can DM me, like, I'm not going to spread anything around, just so I know. I'm genuinely curious. But yes, I discredit completely anyone who clearly has made up their minds on a movie before ever seeing it. So yeah, Zach?
Yep, no, I agree. I don't know who he's talking about, so.
All right.
But yeah.
GeekOEP, have you guys updated your This Week in Geek page on Spotify, or have you guys forgot? So Zach takes care of it because the show fell out of orbit a little bit for the past few weeks. I assumed Zach wasn't updating it, but I'm sure you can take care of it.
I can start it. I can start it back with this one. It might be hard to go back, but I can kick it back off with this one. Since this is more
I would say go back if you can, so all of them are there. But this one would be the priority. So starting Monday, we'll get these back on Spotify. Thank you for asking, though. That's really important that you'd ask. Eric Thorpe reviews. Do you guys think anything will dethrone Top Gun at the box office this year? My go-to answer would be Avatar 2 or maybe Black Panther 2, but I kind of doubt it. After Multiverse of Madness couldn't even. I wouldn't take Black Panther 2 off the list because Multiverse of Madness couldn't. But I'm definitely starting to question my own predictions with what people respond to these days, since I thought Multiverse of Madness would easily reach $1 billion, since No Way Home made almost $2 billion. I even thought the Batman would hit $1 billion. I thought at one point Batman would hit $1 billion too. I would say Avatar 2 or Black Panther 2 are the best bets. At least as I see it right now. Off the top of my head, I don't know of anything else that can do it.
I do. Okay, so there's a couple. And Minions has a chance, and I only say this because it has not released in China, and the first film, it made stupid money there, which literally is why it made $1 billion the first time. I have a feeling it could, because Top Gun, I think it comes to Paramount at the end of next month. So once that starts happening, it's going to start losing its steam in theater. It's going to be in theaters for quite a while still. So I think it's going to probably top out at like 1.3 billion. I think it's at like 1.1 right now. Mm-hmm. So where does it go next with that? What's the next film to get $1 billion? Thor could, but with the cinema score, I don't think Thor will. I think Thor is probably going to top out around 900 easily, 900, 950. Minions, I think, could hit $1 billion. It just depends on how good it does in China. Black Panther is going to be a big one. And I say that because everyone's going to want to see it to see what they do with Chadwick Boseman. Now, what's going to stick it around is if it's a good movie. Because I think it's the same effect with what happened with Furious 7. Why Furious 7 is still the highest grossing Final Fantasy Fast and Furious film is because Paul Walker's death happened. And everyone, even people who were not fans of Fast and Furious, wanted to see how they were going to do it. And Furious 7 was very enjoyable. So people would say, hey, go see it. Or people would say, I'm going to go see that again. It's all about repeat viewing and word of mouth. That's why Top Gun is absolutely fucking killing it. So jumping from there, I think Avatar. I think Avatar will be the highest grossing film of 2022. There is a lot of buzz for that film in the general going audience. And I hope it's awesome. I hope the movie's awesome. I enjoy the first Avatar, but you just can't count Cameron out. He has made arguably two of the best sequels of all time, and he might make the third best, like one of the best sequels of all time again. So let's see. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and we will see what happens. He just needs to really shut his mouth right now because he just keeps saying stuff, and it's like, I get it, Jimmy. You're a little older, you know.
You're excited. You're excited, but chill the fuck out.
Yeah, like, do you want people
to wait? Now
you're gonna make people get mad. Yeah,
we had to chill for 10 years. No, 13 years. So now you chill. P, don't apologize, man. Like, I chose to make your big discussion topic as our main topic because it leads to a great discussion. So don't apologize, man. In fact, thank you.
At all.
Eric Thorpe, why is Marvel seemingly cutting their movies down so short suddenly? It seems like a milder version of what WB was doing back in the day with DCU. Again, milder is putting it lightly because I love Multiverse of Madness, but it definitely felt like it was cut down way too much. And even Thor Love and Thunder, which I thought might work all right with a shorter runtime, felt way too rushed. This one I disagree, but we'll get to it in a bit, in my opinion. And we know 3 major actors were cut out, which I mentioned in my question last week. So even though, yes, they're major actors, they were never going to be major roles. Jeff Goldblum is the one they publicly announced it, but they announced it was going to be very short. It was going to be like essentially
Lena got paid a lot though, so she had an important role. But
Lena got paid a lot, but that Olympus scene was longer than I thought it would be, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing, because it serves a bigger purpose than just that scene. Mm-hmm. So it's a good question because Phase 4 so far, Black Widow was 2 hours 15, Shang-Chi was 2 hours 15, Eternals and Spider-Man No Way Home were 2 hours and a half, 35, 40, something like that. Doesn't matter, right? Rounding the numbers. However, Doctor Strange and Thor specifically, the ones that came before Love and Thunder and Multiverse of Madness, they have always been some of the shorter movies in the MCU. Doctor Strange, the original, was 2 hours, was 122 minutes, something like that. And the Thor movies have always been just 2 hours. The original Thor is 1 hour 15. Thor, The Dark World is 1 hour and 19 or something. Yep. Thor Ragnarok is the one that goes to 2 hours and 10 minutes. I will somewhat agree with you on Multiverse of Madness. I don't think it felt way too short, but I think it felt short. I think they could have been served with 2 hours and 10, maybe 2 hours 15. Thor Love and Thunder, I think it results in a beautiful, brisk pace. I think 5 more minutes maybe could have led to 1-2 more scenes between Gorr, the God Butcher, and Thor. I love what the film does with both these characters. I just wanted the 2 of them were on screen just a slight bit more. It's very nitpicky because it's just a little bit. But apart from that, I don't think Thor Love and Thunder needed too much more runtime. Eric Thorpe, is it just me or are audiences actually getting shallower? An example of this is how it seems like most people nowadays seem to... Hang on, I have someone ringing my bell. Zach, please continue.
Okay, let me go grab it. All right, guys, so, we're here. Let me go grab some questions because something's going on. All right, let's grab these questions and go. I'm just gonna grab a random one because I was kind of waiting to see how he would have finished that. Someone asked, Joe Fletcher or Nathan Holton asked, what animation movies are you looking forward to for the rest of 2022? In the back of my head, I can't really remember what else is coming out. I'm really excited for the Dragon Ball movie. That's a big thing that I think a lot of people kind of interested into seeing like what's going on with that. Just because the last Dragon Ball movie was phenomenal. The next thing is that Strange World Disney film. I am really excited to see what they do in that film. The trailer is intriguing. It looks a little bit like Treasure Planet mixed with how may you say? I'm trying to think of a different thing. Mixed with like Avatar in some way, shape, and form, because they're going to some new location. So that's something that I'm very excited to see. Next one, Sodium 285S. Hey Zach and Ren, what is on superhero hate? What is one superhero you hate but everyone else loves? Me, it's Wes Collins, Force Red. Not sure. I don't really hate any superheroes personally. Okay, I don't remember. I didn't finish out the question you were asking. I just kind of jumped onto a random one from your list. So I did.
Yeah, no worries.
Did Nathan Holton? What animation movies are you looking forward to for the rest of 2022?
I don't know what else is coming out, but like you said, I'm really looking forward to Strange World, and I'm looking forward to Dragon Ball Super Superhero, because I'm a fan. I'm a Dragon Ball fan. I should be seeing that rather soon, but I really don't like how they changed to CGI. But yeah, Strange World, I'm so looking forward to, and yeah. That's it. I don't know anything else.
And then I asked, and Sodium asked, I started another one. What is on one superhero you hate but everyone else loves? I don't really have an answer for that because I don't hate any.
I don't hate them, but I don't really see the appeal of Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, which I know you love. Like I don't hate.
I love Blue Beetle. Booster Gold I enjoy, but I don't love Blue Beetle. Or I don't.
Yeah, I don't get the appeal of Booster Gold. I'm like I don't know. I mean, I know one. I despise this motherfucker, Damian Wayne. Fuck Damian Wayne. I want Damian Wayne to die 1,000 slow deaths.
Damian. Yeah, which Robin is that? That's
he just takes on the mantle of Robin. He's just like the Dick Grayson is Nightwing. Jason Todd is Red Hood. Tim Drake is Red Robin, and then Tim Drake just Robin.
Okay.
So yeah.
You know who I do hate? You know who I do hate? But no one really loves this one. Ezra Miller. That's it.
I mean, he's no superhero. Quite the opposite. Eric Thorpe, is it just me or our audience is getting shallower? An example is most people nowadays still seem to prefer the Mission Impossible movies over the Daniel Craig Bond movies. Though Mission Impossible is great, you really are just watching it for the actions. The characters are so thin. I don't agree, particularly from Ghost Protocol onwards. Where you created that team dynamic that distinguishes the Mission Impossible movies from Daniel Craig. I don't think it makes audiences shallower. It's just a matter of preference. Also thin, where Daniel Craig's Bonds, though some are better than the others, are way more focused on telling a good story with compelling characters. With a compelling central character, I agree. It's the best Bond we've had for a reason. To be clear, even though it's obvious I prefer Bond over MI5, I still really like the MI movies. MI5? MI movies and respect them for what they pull off. But at the end of the day, even when it comes to action movies, I still prefer interesting characters and stories over some record-breaking, death-defying stunt being done for real on film. But it's not just that they're done real on film, it's how they integrate it into the story. They're going for different things, and I think they accomplish those different things with several degrees of success. I think the later Mission Impossible movies have been on a better streak than the Daniel Craig era Bond movies. But I will say they have the best single film, like Fallout, I think is the best single film out of the MI movies and the Daniel Craig Bond era movie. But below Fallout, I would put Skyfall and Casino Royale over the other Mission Impossible movies. So there's that. Zach, anything to add?
It's weird because I get what they're saying, but even though they're both spy films, they're completely different to me.
Yeah.
Like Bond is more of a throwback to old school stuff mixed with modern stuff, where Mission Impossible is just, I mean, the franchise has changed since it has been around for so many years with the same character and the same actor. So I don't know. Given, yes, Mission Impossible has stronger stunts, I was more emotionally entwined with James Bond. but that's typically never happened until Daniel Craig. So I don't know. Like it's very tough, but I think it's like comparing apples to oranges. Like they're different. They're very different type of spy films. So
All right. This is a really good question. Chico P asks, what in your opinion is the most underrated movie you liked more than critics and audiences, and overrated movie this year? I could easily say that underrated right now is Thor Love and Thunder
yep.
or Lightyear, and maybe even Elvis a bit. However, I am actually going to shout out an underrated movie that I think people have already forgotten, and it's such a treat, and that is The Bad Guys. This
That
film
was good.
is so good. It's a Tarantino movie by way of Universal. This is not a elimination movie. This is so good. This is the best. This is the best Universal DreamWorks. It's DreamWorks. This is the best DreamWorks movie they've delivered ever since the How to Train Your Dragon. And I mean the original, because 2 and 3 only exists because of the first one. I'm saying original film. Obviously, it's based on a series of books, but like the starter of a franchise. Hopefully, The Bad Guys is such a treat, and I think people have already forgotten it. Um, overrated. Overrated. Um,
I have one for
I mean,
overrated.
I've seen people saying that The Black Phone is like the greatest horror movie in the last 5 years, and I'm like, it's a good movie. I quite enjoyed it, but chill the fuck out.
I have one.
Other than that, I don't know. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I got two for overrated. Bob's Burgers movie. Do not get it. Just don't get
Haven't
it.
seen
Don't even understand how that has a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. I just don't understand. I was bored and I fell asleep. Crimes of the Future as well. I did not like this movie. Did not like it. The more and more I think on it, the more and more I think it's terrible. And apparently people love it. I saw 3 rankings yesterday ranking all the horror films of the year, and they put that at number 1, and I was absolutely baffled. So that's that. For what you said, Bad Guys is very underrated. Ambulance is another one. Some people were just shitting
Ambulance
on it,
is so. I
but
love
that
it.
was a lot of
Ambulance
fun.
is still. Ambulance is still my number 9.
Yeah.
It's stretching
But-
closer to getting out of my top 10. Because
Yeah.
for the past 3 weeks, every release of the past 3 weeks has entered my top 10 of the year. So yeah.
But I actually want to pick Lightyear for mine because I really do not get some of the fucking hate on this film. Like I think Thor's kind of the same way, but I guess I could understand a little bit more on Thor because maybe they didn't like Ragnarok and they just don't like Taika. I can get that. Like I can understand if Taika's humor is not for you. Totally understand if you're not a big MCU fan, if you're kind of just done. But Lightyear, I just think people just did not. I also think the first trailer should have had in 1995 Andy saw a movie. That should have been the first trailer because there were still people, again, in the general circle that I'm in that did not understand what the film is. And when I told them what it was, they were like, oh, now I want to see that. And then they went and saw it. So they definitely should have explained it a little bit better, but it's a film that I'm still shocked didn't do as good. I want to ask you, Ren, if it was not titled Lightyear and say they just did a space film, changed some of the things, the designs, do you think it would have done better?
Better, but I don't think too much because I think the biggest problem was how, thanks to Bob Chapek, Disney got the audience used to just having a Pixar movie for free on Disney Plus, not having to go to the theater for the past 2 years.
My family member has 3 kids. So the last few Pixar films they've only watched at home, clearly, because that's how they've gotten to. And I remember he texted me, he goes, hey, why isn't Lightyear on Disney Plus? I told him, I was like, it's only in theaters. He goes, oh. And then he looked it up, and it's coming in 45 days in the Disney Plus. He goes, oh, I'll just wait. Literally told me he's just going to wait. And that sucks. That sucks.
Yeah, it really sucks. All right, Eric Thorpe. With Pierce Brosnan making his way back to major blockbusters franchise with the DCU, after not really being in any in like 20 years, how dare you, sir? He was in Mamma Mia 1 and 2 since he was Bond. Are there any other actors or actresses that have sat out of the spotlight for so long that you think could or would like to see make a similar reemergence into the mainstream? Off the top of my head, I don't know. I would have to see. I would have to see like a list of these actors who have not been in the spotlight for a while. But I don't know, man. That's a really good question. I would love to answer it. Yeah, go ahead.
Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell, I would love. I know he had ego, but he hasn't really done much. I'd love
I
to see
know
Kurt
one.
Russell. And
I
then
know
John
one.
Travolta. I'd love to see John Travolta have a comeback again.
I know the fanatic too. Electric Boogaloo.
Stop.
I know one. I was just at the gym today listening to a podcast, and they brought this name up, talking about a film that he made with Spike Lee, and I'm like, where's this guy been? Clive Owen. Where the hell is Clive Owen? You know what? Before Captain Marvel, I would even have said Jude Law, but now he's starting to get this reemergence. He had Captain Marvel. He's got Secrets of Dumbledore. He's going to be in Skeleton Crew. But, I want to see Clive Owen in shit, man. Bringing him into the MCU.
Yeah.
Make him the next Grindelwald, because the joke now is that they're going to replace Grindelwald in every movie. So yeah, I want to see more of Clive Owen. So
where's
that's my answer. I really want to see more of Clive Owen.
After seeing Doolittle, I think Robert Downey Jr. needs a little bit of love too.
True. His Instagrams are adorable though.
He's gonna be in Oppenheimer though, so that's cool.
Is he?
Yeah. You didn't see that announcement? Yeah. He got announced for it. Yeah, he got announced for it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
there's set photos and stuff of him too, like 2 days after he was announced.
Nice. Lady Aaron, so a couple of days ago we lost James Caan. It's true. What is the most memorable and favorite performance from James Caan? Well, like I said, I've recently watched Godfather Part 1 and 2. He's just in Part 1. And a lot of people will probably answer that, but to me, he's the dad in Elf. That's what I remember him most for. And Misery, obviously, it's another one, but Elf. For me, always Elf. Zach, what about you? James Caan.
Real fast. The League of Cinephiles asked us something. They want us to add one more to the wheel, so we get to pick one more category together. So we're gonna pick this live. I think new releases personally. That's
new releases, yeah. Go with new releases.
So sweet.
All right. Yeah, but what is your favorite or most memorable performance from James Caan?
Underrated one, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball, when he voices the dad. Very underrated.
Oh, is he the voice of the dad?
Yep.
Okay.
I totally forgot he was, and once I saw someone post that, I'm like, I went back and watched a couple scenes. I'm like, he's really good. Yeah. Elf, he's awesome as Elf. You mentioned Godfather, so I'm not talking about Godfather, but yeah, man, it's sad. It's really sad.
As Santino. Lady Aaron, what in your opinion is your favorite TV show to come from Netflix that is not Stranger Things, and why? Oh, you don't even need that caveat for me. It's Daredevil and Afterlife and The Witcher over Stranger Things. So even you don't even need the that is not Stranger Things caveat there. For me, Stranger Things or not, it's Daredevil number 1, Afterlife number 2, and The Witcher. If it continues the streak of good seasons, number 3. Zach?
So Stranger Things After 4 is my favorite Netflix show. It's just definitively, but there is a lot of great ones. Umbrella Academy, I fucking love. Ozark, I loved. Witcher, you said you loved.
I finished it, by the way.
Like
while we were not doing shows. Okay, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I don't think it earned the ambiguous ending.
I don't mind the ending because it just, in the same sense, starts the cycle all over again of what they've been doing.
I like that message, but I don't think it earned it being ambiguous.
I will tell you right now.
Answered, tell me what happened. Don't finish it.
There's a character who died that should not have died. They should not have died, and there's another character that should have died, and I'll just say a car accident happens. They should have died right there. Should have just died. I think, just looking at everything, the fact that that's how they would have died, it's like, some people would have been pissed. I would have been like, nope, that's how life goes. Sometimes I
don't like of a character that makes a choice I think it's the first episode of the final volume.
And
kills someone. And I was like, okay, you just killed the biggest threat in the show. And I don't think the show did a good job at establishing a threat.
I think it felt rushed. If I'm being honest, it felt
like you shouldn't have done that in the first episode. Do that in 3, maybe 4. And
so
then you have 3
I
more
did
episodes.
find out, though, this was supposed to be they were going to do a 5th season, and Netflix is like, nope, we're just going to extend your season. So there was supposed to be an additional 3 episodes to the last one and an additional 3. So I actually think originally it probably would have ended with that happening, and then we go into season 5 and what are the ramifications of that. So it makes a little bit more sense that they decided to. I'm happy they gave them the final season though. And they didn't cancel it. So but yeah, those are my favorites.
This question is for Zach, as I asked this question to Ren a couple weeks ago. Where would Elvis rank in terms of music biopics? that you have watched.
That's tough because I'm probably forgetting
Yeah,
1,200
off
of
the
them.
top of your head, these lists.
Off the top of my head, probably
are-
top 10, like bottom 10, I would say, like 10, 9, 8. Because I really like Walk the Line. Walk the Line's like one of my favorites. I really love Walk the Line. And I loved Rocket Man too. Rocket Man blew me away. But I don't know. I'd have to really sit down. But what was that?
I'm not the biggest fan of Rocket Man. Never been.
I know you're not. I know you're not. But there's something about Terrence.
And I was excited. Don't get me wrong. I was like,
Are you a fan of Elton
really?
John though? Are you a fan of Elton John though?
I am. Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, so I grew up more with Elton than I did Queen. I got more into Queen as I was like in high school and stuff. So I kind of more lean towards the Elton John stuff a little bit more. There's a lot of biopics they still haven't done though. Like there's a ton of biopics. Like when you look at musical artists, I still want a Nirvana one. I still want them to do a Kurt Cobain Nirvana
That'd be
one.
really good.
And then even leave it into the Foo Fighters, but they probably won't do that now because of Taylor Hawkins' death. So.
Eric Thorpe, we were not talking about Stranger Things. When we were talking about like a character killed someone too soon, they did not establish a bigger threat. We were talking about Ozark, not Stranger Things. But speaking of Stranger Things, Lady Aaron, what are your overall thoughts on season 4 of Stranger Things? If you have watched the entire season already, do you personally think this is the best season or the worst season of the show? We talked about it already a little bit. The final 2 episodes is the best Stranger Things has ever been. The season overall, I'd put it in number 2, just behind season 3. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
This is my favorite season, hands down. I think it was perfect. Even with my issues I had with it, I do think that it was. I didn't like that everyone was separated. That was my biggest issue, which is the reason that I think that's why I like season 3 so much. A lot of people don't. But it is my favorite Netflix show. I love Stranger Things, and I came down to the point of I actually fully believe they will land the ending going into season 5. I would be shocked if if it's bad. Like I would be. I actually think at this point it will be one of the best, more celebrated endings to a show. Because honestly, anytime a show ends, it's not. It's usually some divisive thing. Like, can you think of an ending to a show that was actually not divisive? Like Breaking Bad's like the only one, and I know you didn't finish Breaking Bad, but that's like the only one in the back of my head that did not.
Off the top of my head. Off the top of my head, I do not know. I mean, the ending of Sons of Anarchy wasn't divisive. Most people just disliked it. I don't get why, but most people just disliked it. So technically, it wasn't divisive. This question is for Zach. What was the whole process of your proposal to your new fiance that happened recently? Yeah.
Oh, they just want to know the process of it?
Yeah, and how long was it kept a secret?
So first off,
set it up?
Yeah. Just as a first off, so everyone knows, I do need to leave in a couple minutes because I have to go to work, and that's not fun. But for the proposal process, well, when did I tell you? I told you like right after I got the ring, right? Like,
yeah. You told me like it was early this year.
Yeah, it was like almost 6 months ago. It was almost 6 months ago. So I have kind of known.
Because I remember thinking when you told me like, oh, I'm proposing in June, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's a long ways away.
Yeah. And it flew by though. So
yeah.
So I knew since last year that I wanted to do it. So what I ended up doing was, okay, cool. Like I'm going to do this. So, and we had talked about it. Like I wanted to make sure she'd say yes. I'm not going to fucking do it. And she's not going to say yes. So we looked at some rings and stuff. But I always knew that like, I was never going to buy one that she wanted. I was going to take designs that she wanted and do something with that. So my dad actually knows someone who makes rings. Like he's the middleman. He makes the rings that get sent to. So I went to him and I said, here are 3 designs that she loves. What can you do? And he crafted something that was literally all 3 of the designs put together, all sorts of things like that, paid it, held onto the ring for 6 months. Now she knew that I had something. She knew I was probably going to do it. But every time I told her, I was like, do not expect it this year. I want you to graduate, celebrate your graduation, and I'll probably do it. Like, this is my time period of range. So if I ever say between this and this month that we're going, like I told her like November of the end of this year to like November of next year. If I ever say we're going out of town, do what you want to do, get your nails done, hair done, all that stuff. So it perfectly worked out that her graduation was 3 days before when I had already planned to do it because they bumped it back. So she got ready, all this stuff. So then when we were at the hotel, we're sitting there and my family went down and they're decorating the beach and everything like that. And I'm sitting there on my bed while she's getting ready with like the biggest butterflies in my stomach. I'm like, man, my stomach's hurting so bad. I have the ring in my pocket, and I'm telling you right now, that's the hardest thing is to hide that ring because it's like sticking out. Like you can clearly tell there's something in my pocket. So then we went down and she never met my cousin or her husband, so they were recording us like the entire time, which was really cool. And my family was like hiding up on a balcony, and then it was even better because the sun was in her eyes, so she did not even see everything until we literally walked up.
Okay.
So when we walked up, she didn't see anything, and I literally had to go, "Hey babe, like look," and she looks and she goes, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I got down on one knee, and she goes, "No, really, are you serious right now?" And she was very emotional, and she said yes and all sorts of things like that. And no, we do not have a date for a wedding. Please do not ask. If you ask, I will not talk to you. That is what because like right afterwards, people started asking us. I'm like, I literally just did it. We have no fucking idea what we're doing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, thank you for asking.
All right. Lady Aaron, do you guys feel sad about Dune Part 2 getting delayed? No, because it was delayed for like a month. So
I would bet money it's probably going to be delayed to December. If they've moved Star Wars and Star Trek out, it'll be moved there. Let's just be honest.
And also, how do you feel about Dune 2 coming in theaters supposedly on the same day as the new upcoming Hunger Games movie? Honestly, when I first read this question, I was like, I feel sorry for Hunger Games. But then I thought about it and like, I don't know who I feel sorry for. They're stiff competition. Both
they gotta move. They're not gonna stay. Neither of them will stay. One will move. One will either move up or one will move back. Hunger Games would do really good in December too. So like either or, those studios are talking and discussing. Because if people don't remember, John Wick Chapter 4 and The Matrix were on the same fucking day for a while. And I'm sure the studios.
Instead of John Wick Chapter 4, we got the fucking Matrix.
Yeah, well, we're getting John Wick next year, so
we should have gotten there already.
Yeah,
I wish I hadn't seen The Matrix, and
I
hadn't seen.
I know. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna buy you the hot toy of Neo from Matrix 4.
Don't, please. I mean, buy it all you want. I'll sell it and get some money for it.
No, but all right. I do need to get going, man.
You gotta go.
Thank you so much, brother. I will still be listening for the rest of it until I get someone to talk to me. So have a great rest of your guys' day. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye, Zach. All right, let me trudge on through these questions so I can answer as many of them as I possibly can. And Lady Aaron asks, since I know you are a WWE wrestling fan, Ren, what are your initial thoughts and opinions on Logan Paul joining the WWE? It gives me a segment to skip every week. Whenever he's on screen, I'm going to skip that segment on the shows. Lady Aaron also asks, what are some of your favorite behind-the-scenes set photos for a movie that you have seen, if you have any? I don't. I think they're fun novelties to look at, but I don't keep them in my mind, honestly. And there is a question about Ezra Miller, and it just feels like another Tuesday, another week, different day, same shit. So there's really no point right now in elaborating any further on the Ezra stuff. Don't feel bad for asking, obviously, because you're curious, you want to hear our opinions, but I think at this point, anything relating to Ezra Miller, we're going to talk about whenever WB makes a proper decision, an official decision, or something like gets proven about it. Because otherwise, we've talked long enough about it. Lady Aaron, what are some of the saddest video game moments that you have witnessed that still bring a tear to your eye whenever you see it or think about it? Last of Us 2, the entirety of Last of Us 2, particularly the porch scene near the end. It's that game, that story. How do you guys feel about songs, not thongs, songs getting a resurgence because of its use on social media, movie, and especially a TV show like Kate Bush's Running Up That Hill? It's fun. I think that's always how we find out about music that is not from our era. Like a ton of people found out Billy Joel through The Boys. I'm not going to judge them on it. I'm just happy they found Billy Joel and the greatness of the Piano Man. So yeah, it's great. Okay. Gigor P, you're asking a spoiler question of Love and Thunder. You know the question you asked about that second post-credit scene. I'm not going to bring up anything in specific that you mentioned. I have read it. Trust me on that. And if you want to ask it again next week, feel free. I will give you my opinion, however. I like that post-credit scene. I think answering to the question you ask, yes, it's possible, but I think it's a one-time thing. I think it would be a one-time, hey, you can do this one time, and then this person has to go back to where they are by the end of Thor Love and Thunder. So yeah, I don't think it's an open door for them to be a main player in the MCU, but I think it's a special treat, that a special card that they can play. Since Ren, I know you're a comic fan, and Zach, you're getting into comics, I would recommend checking out Koi's Comic Corner on the Real Rejects channel. Thank you for recommending it. GOP, thoughts on the Amsterdam trailer? I'll be honest, despite the great cast, including your girl Ren, I'm not all that hyped. David O. Russell is a mixed bag for me. The Fighter, Silver Linings Playbook, double thumbs up. American Hustle, I like. I think it's a good movie. Joy is all right. Blessed, it looks like a Coen Brothers wannabe, just like American Hustle was a Scorsese wannabe. I'm with you. I didn't care too much for that trailer. I was like, what the fuck is this movie about? And then I went into the IMDb and there's a synopsis and I'm like, oh, that's what it is. Okay, that was I'm not a fan of that trailer whatsoever, honestly. I'm excited because it's a great cast and the director is great, but he is a garbage human being. But I'm not, the trailer, I don't like the trailer at all. I'm just hyped to see this cast together. GGOP, what do you think when people say Top Gun is the savior of movie theaters after it made $1 billion yet filmed like Shang-Chi, No Way Home, and even outside the MCU, The Batman made a lot of money and got people back to the movie theater? Here's the thing, and I don't think you're entirely wrong in remembering that Shang-Chi, No Way Home, The Batman made a lot of money and got people back. It's true. However, Top Gun Maverick is a 36-year-old legacy sequel that is not a superhero movie. That comes from Tom Cruise, who, yes, is the biggest movie star in the world, but if you go to his track record, he has never had a movie reach over $600 million. Besides that as well, it's not just that Top Gun made a ton of money in its opening weekend. It's the lags it's having. It's going down and coming back up that is impressive. Plus, it not only got people back in the theaters, it got the people back in the theaters that Shang-Chi and No Way Home and The Batman wasn't getting back in the theaters. The 40s to 60s in terms of age, the older crowd that's coming back from their original Top Gun. That's what's so impressive and so important about Top Gun. It's bringing a certain type of crowd that those other movies weren't bringing, and it's getting those legs that those movies weren't bringing. Like, No Way Home is impressive because we were in a pandemic. Shang-Chi did much better than a lot of other movies in a pandemic. The Batman just did really good. I think The Batman came in a time where we're sort of back to normalcy. Like, the effects of COVID are that felt in the box office, that reflected in box office. But Top Gun Maverick is an outlier in terms of genre, in terms of the crowd that is appealing, and in terms of how much is hanging in there. I think that's why it's so impressive what it is doing, pandemic or not. So those are my thoughts. What are some films that people look at you like you're crazy for liking or disliking it? Films that make them go, you like that shit, or how can you not like that? We all have those films showing that it's always okay to like a movie, and a lot of people aren't liking and dislike a movie that's enjoyed by the majority. For me, like, a film I don't like too much is Hereditary. I don't enjoy Hereditary at all. And by the way, I should thank Chico EP in your spoiler question for Thor Ragnarok, where you mentioned something that I mentioned in my post-credit scenes explained. So, by the way, thank you so much for watching that. That video did not do well. The videos that I uploaded this week did not do well at all. So I want to thank everyone who watched. And if you haven't watched, go watch them. Share your comments so we can have a conversation, because I can never thank you if I don't know that you watched, if I don't get those comments. So I just want to say thank you for watching. For me, the one I don't like is Hereditary. The one I do like, I mean, at this point, it's probably Thor Love and Thunder or Lightyear this year, but I'm sure there are a ton of others. After The Boys Season 3, I know Emmy nominations are this week. I didn't know that. and past the deadline. But for next year, can Anthony Starr get nominated, please? That guy should be in more stuff. He has a presence of making you feel sympathy for him, and yet you still hate him and are afraid whenever he comes on screen. Great acting. Dude, I give him the Emmy. Not even a nomination, just give him the Emmy. His performance is nothing short of impressive. He is phenomenal in this show. He has this ability of making you completely tense whenever he's on screen. You just don't know what this character is going to do. You just don't know what it's going to take to make him snap. And in a season that is all about him getting rid of all his restrictions, trying to get rid of all his restrictions. And yet, not only do you feel sympathy for him, because there's a real humanity behind that macho, vile, evil appearance, you feel pity for him because you understand his upbringing. You understand everything this character has gone through, and you understand that's exactly what makes him so fearful. That's exactly what's going to make him snap. But you feel pity for him. You feel sorry for this monster, because that's what he is. Let's be fair. But I think he should absolutely get an Emmy nom. An Emmy nom. The Master of Gaming. Are you going to review Paws of Fury: The Legend of Hank? I have no idea what this is, so probably not. Never heard of it, really. Nathan Holton. Thoughts on the Woman King trailer? Sexy doesn't come till October 6th in the UK. Another UK delay. I like the trailer. I think it goes on a little bit too much, showing some of the same beats. I'm excited for the film, don't get me wrong. The trailer itself, I liked it. I thought the music was awful. I thought it would have been better suited with the scoring behind it instead of the rap music behind it. I thought it should have been like a booming score, some drums. Transport us to Africa with the music. But I cannot wait to see Viola Davis in this. She looks sensational. Thoughts on, also from Nathan Holton, thoughts on Julius Ona directing Captain America 4 and the rumors of Daredevil and Echo. There are no rumors anymore about Daredevil and Kingpin and Echo. There are rumors about a certain other character, so I won't talk about it. In fact, there's rumors I know about 2 other characters. One of them is already swimming around on Twitter. Rumors of Daredevil, I'm going to enjoy seeing Daredevil. I'm just not excited for the Echo show. Julius Ona, the director of Cloverfield Paradox, and he also directed Loose. I cannot talk about Loose because I didn't finish, but the fact is, I didn't finish it. The movie didn't make me care enough to finish it. I only watched about 30 minutes, but in 30 minutes, I didn't really get to care for the film. Also, Nathan Holton, thoughts on Steven Yeun, Johnny Mickey 7? Exciting. Never a bad idea to add talent. Steven Yeun is very talented, so I like it. I just hope it doesn't delay Invincible Season 2. Nathan Holton, what animation movies? Okay, we've answered this one when Zach took over a bit. Master of Gaming, do you think this year is an amazing year for horror films? 2022 for me is the best year for horror films I've seen in a while. Horror films, horror movies, 2022. Scream is really good. Black Phone is good. X is all right. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is horrible. Fresh is really good. Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, really good. Morbius is not a horror film. Crimes of the Future was all right. Uma was not good. The Twin I haven't seen. The Cellar I haven't seen. The Northman is not a horror film. Choose or Die is atrocious. The Master I really did not enjoy. No Exit was solid. And I heard Incantation is now on Netflix, and I've heard good things about that one. I think it's a solid year, but we're only halfway through the year. We could still get more horror movies, and hopefully those will be even better. GKOP, something that is also a spoiler for I don't even know how to pronounce that chant, so I'll wait for next week so Zach can pronounce the chant, because I don't watch the show that person is on. But my thoughts on the casting, and by the way, I don't watch that show, but I know this guy from other shows. He'll always be Tom from Derek. Ricky Gervais is Derek for me. He was in that. His casting as that character, did not expect it. Not like who I would have casted, and it's like 2 seconds on screen. And I think he's going to have to bulk the fuck up. But I enjoyed it. Good actor, so I hope he bulks the fuck up and can do the character justice. Even though I'll say this, I'm a big fan of a lot of interpretations of that character. The Marvel Comics version of that character is about the least interesting version of that character I've ever seen or read about or anything. So I hope the MCU does it justice, because I didn't give a shit about Scott Lang or Carol Danvers in the comics either. Joe Fletcher. With Daredevil and Kingpin now being confirmed to show up in Echo, have you guys heard the rumors of Jessica Jones joining the MCU through Daredevil's motivate? Okay, Jessica Jones joining the MCU through the Echo show. Yes, I've heard the rumors. I cannot comment on those because I know a lot more than I'm leading on. And I'll let you know, there's rumors of another character showing up on that show. And that character, I'm like, how does this person fit in? I do not understand. But here's hoping it works out for the best, because I'm not excited for the Echo show as of right now. Do you guys think that Rotten Tomatoes scores influence people who have not seen the movie to believe it is a bad movie? If it does not have a high score, seen a lot of this, people saying Thor sucks and it has a score less than 70. It definitely influences people. I don't think it should, because Rotten Tomatoes is a broken system. I really don't like it. So it's just a broken system I don't pay any attention to, and I don't think anyone should. Joe Fletcher also asks, if/when Thor 5 happens, do you think Taika comes back to direct? At this point, I'd be very shocked if he doesn't. Thor right now is Taika's baby as much as the Guardians have been James Gunn's baby. I'm not saying that's for the best. I would have kept Kenneth Branagh all along, if you ask me, even with Thor Love and Thunder, which I love so much. But yes, right now I don't doubt that Taika will come back. And I'm very sure we're going to have a Thor 5. How much longer do you think Chris Hemsworth will play Thor? If anything, I could see him going the route of Iron Man or Captain America in the next big crossover. But I think we'll at least get Thor 5 and 2 more crossover movies. So yeah. Amsterdam trailer I talked about. Sodium 285. Hey Ren and Zach, what is a super? Okay, we talked about this one as well. Sodium also asks, have either of you seen the 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show? Yes, I have. It's been a while, but I have. My favorite version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a 2012 show, actually. I know the designs look bad at first view. I thought that too. But when you actually watch the show, that's the best version of the Turtles. And Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, we talk about that show all the time. I adore that show. That's my favorite superhero animated series, right next to Batman, the animated series. Earth's Mightiest Heroes is incredible. Canceled too soon. Ren, you're two of my favorite YouTubers. Thank you so much. That means a lot. It really does. I love how optimistic you two are. Who do you think has the most toxic fan bases? In my opinion, the DC Animated Universe fan base. I've gotten a lot of slack with that fan base because I didn't like Apocalypse War. But for me, it's Star Wars. Star Wars is just vitriol, and nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans. So I think Star Wars just trumps any other what do I want to say? Any other fan base. That's what I wanted to say. But it's just not fun to see those fan bases. Sodium also asks, you two have possibly the most safe and heartwarming communities on YouTube alongside Austin Burke and Sean Chandler. Well, thank you so much. That means a lot. I can only hope you guys keep watching and keep commenting so we can keep growing, because this week has been a real low. I'm a bit in low spirits because the videos have not done so well. But that means a lot. So thank you all for being here who are here, and thank you for these kind of words. I totally agree. The pandemic has helped no one, in my opinion. MCU Phase 4 still has more direction than the entire DCU. That's true. Do you think Doctor Doom or Apocalypse will be the successor to Thanos as being the big bad of the post-Infinity War saga. Well, right now, I think the big bad is going to be Kang the Conqueror. I think we're going to get Doctor Doom. I don't know if they'll use Doctor Doom as a big bad, and I definitely think we'll get Apocalypse eventually, but I don't think Apocalypse will be the big bad of this saga. Or Doctor Doom. I think they could use a Doctor Doom in the long run. Right now, the big bad that I see coming up next would be Kang the Conqueror, though. Sodium also asks, I agree with you how people are just being like, if it doesn't do what I want it to do, then it sucks, and I don't like it. This goes all the way back to when Power Rangers Megaforce had come out. Do you think this mindset will ever go away? For some people, no, it won't. I wasn't the biggest fan of Power Rangers Megaforce. It's still a season I own because I love the Power Rangers as a whole. But I was very disappointed with Megaforce because that one felt very much like fan service for fan service sake. But for a lot of people, I don't think, but that's just me. For a lot of people, I don't think the mindset will unfortunately go away because people are just too that set on ideas and they hate being wrong. I don't give a shit if I'm wrong or right. Sometimes it's exciting to be wrong. So I think people should just open their minds a little bit, like Doctor Strange. Sodium also asks, congrats on your engagement, Zach. This is for both of you. What is your advice when someone is trying to make a controversial video? I'm currently making one called Why I Don't Like Miles Morales and Why I Love the Stone Kenyan Trio. A Spider-Man Power Rangers video. So if you're gathering these two ideas and why that seem completely different from one another, try to find an angle that gathers them. Like some of the elements that make you not like Miles Morales are some of the elements that make you like the Stone Kenyan Trio. Plus, have set ideas, have that angle and the set ideas that you want to tackle and explore, and then start writing your script. These type of things that sounds like a video essay doesn't really work like talking out of your ass. I certainly don't script my review, so who am I to talk? But when you're doing this sort of thing, this kind of video essay sort of thing, have a script for yourself to guide you through the points you want to elaborate on. That's my advice. Ren, will you and Zach be reviewing House of Dragon on your channels? Zach, I don't know. I will. I will at least review the premiere. And if people are not watching, I'm not reviewing it week to week. If I love the show, I'll talk about it like when the finale comes out. But right now, my plan is, yes, to review House of Dragon and Lord of the Rings. So yeah. And that is it for this week's This Week in Geek. I think those are all the questions. Yes, those are all the questions. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. A spoiler review for Thor Love and Thunder is coming out tomorrow. And right now on the channel, we have a ton of Thor coverage. There's a spoiler-free review. Go watch it. Go comment your thoughts if you haven't yet. Again, just start the conversation. Thank you for bringing up all the community today, because that's what I want to do. I want to create this community and talk with you guys on the videos, because I don't really enjoy engaging on Twitter. Not with you guys, but anyone else can see it and I can't control it. In my channel, if a troll comments, I can just delete the comment. So feel free to go check out those videos and comment your thoughts, whether we disagree or not. The discussion is the most part. Again, spoiler review coming out tomorrow. There's a Thor movies ranking. There's a post-credit scenes explained. There's a theory on that video as well, and a spoiler-free review, and tons more content coming this week as well. I hope to see you in those. Thank you so much for watching, and until tomorrow, love each other and love the movie.